Queen and Freddie Mercury are two names that are at the tip of everyone's tongues since Bohemian Rhapsody was released. Even those of you who don't know who Freddie Mercury is fell in love with him after seeing Rami Malek's performance and version. And the rest of us fell in love with Freddie and Queen again after this movie. No matter how many videos we release, there is still so much to say about this legend. So, your boy Marky Mark here, and I'm here today to tell you all about the last moments of the singer. This is not gonna be a fun video as you might imagine, so get ready for it all. Freddie Mercury from the beginning was a very private person, so it was not a surprise that only a few knew about his illness. And in 1987, after being shocked by the death of two of his former lovers by AIDS, the singer decided to make his first checkup that he would discover his greatest fear because he was also the carrier of HIV. This made his life change completely, and he went from partying excessively to locking himself in his house most of the time. His house became his sanctuary. It was a clinic, and he could continue composing and being the artist that he was supposed to be. And only 3 people knew about the disease at first: his boyfriend Jim Hutton, his ex-girlfriend and long friend Mary Austin, his manager Jim Beach. And as time went by, seeing that his state of health was starting to worsen, he told the rest of the band and asked them to keep it a secret. Even though he was trying to keep things a secret, the fact that he did not tour with his penultimate album raised suspicions. I mean, fans were smart, and they came to the conclusion of all the speculations that Mercury had a disease. Freddie had decided how he wanted to deal with his illness. That's why he told his group. That's why they just wanted to keep working until he couldn't do it anymore. A true fighter. Brian May remembered that when making the record, Freddie was often unable to verbalize what he had in his mind and what he wanted to express in his songs because of how weak he was. In this way, May and Roger, the drummer, helped him to shape his ideas by writing the part of the lyrics, "The show must go on" and "Days of Our Lives." And "These Are the Days of Our Lives" was his last. Freddie Mercury, which was on May 30th of 1991, just 6 months before his death. The video was recorded in black and white so that Freddie's marks wouldn't be clear and show how thin he had become. Saying that even breaks my heart. Freddie put all of his soul into recording his last album, and despite the harshness of the situation, there was much joy in the studio since he enjoyed what he liked and was doing what he was doing best. Sometimes it could be only 2 hours because of his condition, and he was probably tired. However, he returned the following day with renewed strength to continue composing. Even in the last moments of his life, he wanted to record another album and asked May to compose more songs and give it to them so that he could sing them. That work was immortalized in Made in Heaven, a post-humanist album that includes the latest recordings before his death, as well as other additional songs composed by the other members of the band. Mercury recorded as far as his terrible disease allowed him, but soon he retired and refused all visits from friends and family. He just did not want to be seen in such a deteriorated state. During his last months of his life, Freddie stopped taking his medication and was practically blind. According to Brian May in an interview for Sunday Times, one of the biggest problems that Freddie had in his last stage was the fact that they had to amputate part of his foot due to complications that came with the disease itself. Freddie showed his injured foot to the group members during dinner and apologized for doing so. However, Brian, who had a great love for the singer, told him, "I'm not upset, Freddie, except you realize that you have to put up with so much terrible pain." Seeing that his last days were near, on November 22nd of 1991, Mercury called the band manager, Jim Beach, and asked him to write a statement. In it, he made his illness public and invited everyone to join the fight. He contributed to the cause since after his death, it was discovered that he had donated $30 million for the fight against AIDS. On November 24th, 2 days after the release of his statement, Freddie left us forever. His partner, Jim Hutton, who was with him to the end, said the pain the singer was suffering was just too terrible. During the early morning of the 24th, after a very heavy night in which the singer could not even get out of bed, his partner and other close friends called the doctor, who decided to give him an injection of morphine to relieve the pain. In the morning, Elton John and David Clark, two great friends of the singer, visited him, but Freddie was unconscious and did not respond to any encouragement. A few hours later, he died in the company of his boyfriend. No doubt that was one of the greatest losses of the musical world, and Freddie is more of an icon and a fighter against AIDS. My heart is so heavy now, so I'm gonna leave you guys right here. And please, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and become part of our Curiouses family. So until next time.